What is happening, everybody? So it is a Thursday and I thought that what I'm going to start doing is try to make a vlog on a daily basis, and I'm going to base it around the carb cycling that I'm currently doing, or I say I'm currently doing, but that's kind of what I do the majority of the time anyway. But I thought I would base it all around mainly diet focus to show you guys how carb cycling works and how I factor it into my day with a rather flexible approach. So I'm going to take you through meals, what I eat, what I do when I'm out, to try and give you guys an idea of carb cycling and how it works. Carb cycling is a great way to help you diet or maintain your weight without feeling too restrictive. And the idea of carb cycling is on days where you're not really doing much, you're not exercising, maybe you're pretty sedentary, you're sitting at a desk or at a laptop or whatever, you are eating less carbs. On days when you're training and you're more active, you're going to up your carbs. So that's kind of how it works. Carbs being pasta, rice, potatoes, and other things like chocolate, sweets, crisps, donuts, muffins, all that stuff kind of falls into that same category. And it's a way, carb cycling is a great way to take calories from your diet but feel like you're not being too restrictive because you're still treating yourself on other days. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to start off my day how I start off quite a few of my days, and I'm going to go and grab a coffee. A large latte takeaway, please.
Blonde coffee?
Yeah, please.
Venti latte, the pound.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Brilliant. Thank you. So I'm back home now, had a coffee, and so this morning, it's a day where I don't really have any clients in the morning. I'm back in later this evening. So normally on days like this, what I do is I took Arthur to school this morning, and then I went straight to the coffee shop and did some work on the laptop. In particular, I wrote my latest part of the Don't Forget About Dad blog, all about Henry and stillbirth. So check that out if you get a chance and you're interested in reading that, or you know someone that might benefit, then check that out. I finished writing that and posted that this morning. So I was in the coffee shop for a couple of hours. In there, I like to go to Starbucks and I get a large latte. So that's probably around about 200, 250 calories. I need to consume 2,500 to 3,000 calories a day to kind of maintain where I'm at. You know, I'm quite comfortable with my weight and my look and everything. So about between 2,500 and 3,000 calories a day. So for me, I can kind of get away with a 200, 250 calorie latte. Now, if you're someone that's trying to lose weight, and female in particular, and you're eating less than 1,600 calories a day, 250 calories on a drink is probably a little bit of a waste of calories for you. You could go skinny and maybe cut that in half, or you could go for a smaller coffee, or even you could go for something like an Americano. But just bear that in mind. Look, drinks do add up, and take them into consideration. So, you know, if you're having a couple of those lattes a day, and I don't know, maybe you're in meetings or you go for coffee with friends, etc., and you're having a couple of lattes a day, then before you know it, you could be doing 500 calories a day on coffee alone. So that's something to maybe bear in mind if that is you. So next up, I'm going to have some breakfast. It's 11:30, so I normally tend to eat breakfast a little later in the day. I kind of fast in the morning, sort of unintentionally. Just don't really get that hungry. I'm really busy in the morning, so I normally get up, go. So I'm going to have just some scrambled egg and probably throw a bit of spinach in there. So keeping the carbs out, because today I don't think I'm going to be training. I trained yesterday. I am going to take the dog on a long walk, but I don't necessarily need a huge amount of carbohydrates today. So I'm not 100% sure. I might train later if I get time, but at the moment I'm not. So keeping the carbs relatively low for now, and then later on if I train I'll maybe increase them around my workout, etc. So going to have scrambled egg and maybe some spinach thrown in there, and yeah, that is meal one. So carbs super low. So there you have it, meal one of the day. 4 eggs scrambled, fried in a tiny dollop of butter. Actually ran out of spinach, so which is annoying, so didn't put spinach with it. So looks like quite a nice bit of egg, quite a bit of protein in there. That's probably around about 300 calories ish. And then with that I'm having a handful of blueberries. So because I ran out of spinach, I put the blueberries with it, because I'm a big fan of every meal you have, breakfast, lunch, dinner, your main meals of the day, you should have something that's relatively nutrient dense with it, and then that way you know you're getting in a lot of good food and a lot of nutrients into your diet as well. So because I was planning on putting spinach with it, but we've ran out of spinach, so I whacked in a handful of blueberries. They do contain carbs, but hardly any. Blueberries are incredibly low in calories and carbohydrates, but high in antioxidants and other stuff. So high protein breakfast with some fat, so it's going to keep me nice and full. The one thing you want to make sure you are doing if you're going to do carb cycling, so you're taking carbs out of your diet, is you need to keep the protein nice and high, and you need to not be afraid of adding a bit of fat in there as well. So the protein's going to help keep you nice and full. What you don't want to do is go and have 1 egg scrambled, because there's like hardly anything there on its own. It's not going to fill you up for very long, it's not going to contain many calories. So 4 eggs scrambled. Like I said, this is for me, so this isn't necessarily for you. You know, you might have 3 eggs or 2 whole eggs and an egg white or whatever. But this is just to give you some idea of what the carb cycling looks like. So that's meal one of the day. So after meal one, taking the dog out for a walk. So like I said, this is kind of like my day off. I'm not working till this evening, so I have like the whole day to myself, which is pretty cool. Katie's gone out, so it's literally just me and the dog. So I normally tend to take the dog on a much longer walk, so we're probably going to be out for a couple of hours. Leave it, come on. So we'll probably be out for a couple of hours. Normally we do like a little bit of, I take him somewhere that we don't normally tend to go, or somewhere completely new, so it's just a bit different for both of us. So out now, walking him. And this is where we are. It's just amazing here. There it is, like that path just goes on and on and on. And you've got all these woods up here, and then we've come from down there and sort of round. We've gone like in a huge circle around those woods. Now we're going to come along up here. The one thing I do find is that that camera never does it justice. Like just the surrounding, and I'll be honest with you, over the past year these dog walks, getting out in the fresh air, has completely saved me. And I'll be honest, it has been the one thing where I can get out and there's just something quite powerful about being outside with nature. And after what we've been through in the past year and all the stress and anxiety, this has been very powerful to helping me cope and get through with that. So I just want to share that with everybody and say, you know, there is something incredibly powerful about just going outside and going for a walk, something that you can't get from anything else, because I think it's just being out with nature and being outside is just incredible for you. And I think that everybody could benefit from that. And to be honest, if I didn't end up getting the dog, then I probably wouldn't have experienced that. And also it's just great, it's good for your health, it's good for your mental health, getting out, walking, being in the fresh air, exploring, taking advantage of your surroundings. I spoke about this many times in other vlogs. It's just amazing. So I thought I'd delve into a little bit more detail about carb cycling. So I gave you a brief overview of what it's about at the beginning. So essentially what you're basically doing is cycling your carbohydrates, and it's a great way of not feeling too restrictive, and you're using your energy as you should be. So the idea is carbohydrates are an energy source, and if you're not doing much on a particular day, then you don't need that much energy. So on the days that you're exercising, you would kind of revolve your carbohydrates around your workout or the exercise that you're doing. So you'd maybe have a little bit of carbohydrates before to provide that energy. You'd do your workout, and then you'd have some carbohydrates afterwards to replenish that energy. So you imagine your muscles in your body store energy, carbohydrates, which is called glycogen. And you imagine your muscle is kind of like a tank, and when you have carbohydrates, the tank is full if you've not done any exercise. If you continue to feed your body carbohydrates, then the tank is going to overflow, and then that's basically when you're consuming too many calories, and then it's going to store elsewhere. It's going to store as fat, excess fat. So the idea being that on the days where you're not doing much, you don't consume many carbohydrates, or the carbohydrates are lower than they would be on an exercise day. And then when you exercise, you use the energy out of that tank, and then you refill it. And how this is going to help someone lose weight is because from day to day you're basically cycling calories, but you have a kind of protocol to follow, which I find isn't too strict, because you're still allowing yourself foods that you enjoy. And like I said, carbohydrates I would incorporate and include, you know, things like crisps, chocolate, sweets, donuts into that category as well. So maybe on a training day, that's when you treat yourself to a chocolate bar, because you're using that as your carbohydrates. So you're not being incredibly restrictive, and this is where most people tend to fail with diets, is because they cut out absolutely everything that they like, and it becomes really, really rigid and hard to stick to. People normally get good results for a period of time, but it's unsustainable. So carb cycling, I find, is a good way to maintain weight, because a lot of the time people don't struggle with losing weight. Everybody knows what they need to do to lose weight, and everybody can do it for a period of time. What people struggle with is finding the answer to maintaining the weight that they've lost. And that is where carb cycling comes into it. Doing things like this, embracing a lifestyle, walking, keeping the exercise up. You can't exercise and diet, get to the weight you want to be, stop both of those things and expect to stay at that weight. That's not how it works. So you need to embrace everything, and you need to find a sustainable way to eat and control your calories, basically. And that's where I think carb cycling could work really well for a lot of people, because you still get to eat proper food, you still get to treat yourself to carbohydrates, but you don't necessarily overconsume. But like I said before, the one thing that people need to realise is that you need to incorporate more protein into the diet to help you feel full, and you need to have some fats as well to help tick you over on those days where you're lower on carbohydrates. So I'm going to carry on with this dog walk, and I'll catch up with you when I get back home for my next meal.